Has preteen fashion died? Frankly, has the preteen era of one's life just disappeared? I want to start this episode by talking about one image that I saw that really got my brain churning on this particular topic. Now, this is a photo of Northwest and her mother, Kim Kardashian. And what I think is important to note here is that North is 12. She's a 12-year-old child, dressed like that, with several inch high platform boots, mini skirt, a corset top, long acrylic nails. The list just goes on and on about things that she's wearing way beyond her years. And my immediate question is to the mother here, frankly. Is this the best thing for your child, for your young daughter to be wearing? I mean, what happened to protecting children? Of course, they can and should develop their own personal style. That's awesome. That's encouraged. But there are also boundaries that it is okay to put on every part of a child's life, especially their attire when they want to dress like they're 21. The idea of age-appropriate clothes seems to be disappearing for some reason. Now, of course, this is Kim K, so I'm not surprised at all. But I did hope that maybe, even though class and care had gone out the window when it came to her life and how her mother mothered her, that perhaps she would do differently for her daughter. Frankly, that she might do everything in her power to protect and shelter her daughter from the world that I'm sure that Kim knows all too well about.
Damn. Kim, you're doing amazing, sweetie.
Push this knee out.
But no, she would rather tout her daughter around in front of paparazzi wearing something like this. I mean, also, I'm just looking at Kim's outfit, like I'm laughing because, like, of course. Kim's boobs are completely out. She probably doesn't care what anyone wears anytime.
That's conservative in comparison to how she looks.
With her cross necklace. Yeah, okay. Anyways. Now, I know here North's outfit is an extreme example, but this does highlight a phenomenon that I've been noticing lately within culture at large. The loss of the preteen phase, especially when it comes to fashion and makeup. It seems like in the last couple of years, it has just vanished. Young girls are presenting themselves looking older and older and frankly dressing exactly the same way that many of us do in our 20s. And this is not just me thinking this. I mean, this has been all over TikTok. All these girls being like, I thought this girl was 18 and she's 13. Like, what is going on? Specifically with things like their makeup and their outfits. Frankly, they're doing better makeup than those of us who are in our 20s. Here's one girl who was talking about this. Going to a fair and the 13-year-old girls look older and prettier than us. I mean, their makeup is so good. Like, this is a thing. Their hair, their makeup, all the things that we didn't figure out till our late teens, early 20s, they've mastered at like 12. Which, I mean, good for them, but also we need to talk about it.
That's a child.
And that's an ugly, pimply bitch.
All the comments were in agreement. Literally, what happened to the awkward phases? OMG. Yeah. Bro, I'm turning 17 this year, and why do these 12-year-olds look older than me? Okay, so it's even a problem within the teens. They're saying it's like this discrepancy happening. The internet took away the innocence kids were supposed to have. They all skipped the awkward figuring it out teen stage. It does seem like they are skipping that phase. Frankly, a lot of other comments were people, because now you can insert photos into the comment section, so people are including their own photos of how they looked at 12 to be like, something's off here, something's different, let's talk about it. So I thought I should join in that unfortunate phase of my life to also share that with you guys. So here are a couple pictures of me between the ages of 12 and 13. Now, I actually have them on my phone right now. I had to go in like the depths of my Facebook to see like what I posted at that time, thinking like, that was a good pic. This is me in 6th grade, okay? So I have the braces. I'm probably wearing makeup, but it's really bad, like maybe some Urban Decay eyeliner that I just learned about. You know, I had earrings, I had the bling on my teeth, the Aeropostale classic shirt. Would a 22-year-old be wearing that outfit? No. Let's go to another one. Ugh, this one is especially painful. I had to go young. These are like in the prime awkward years. That's me on a hike with my big bug eye glasses. I thought that was a really cool pic. But again, it wasn't. I think that's the thing now. It's like now girls are taking cool pics and they actually look like very cool. Back then, we were taking what we thought was cool and it wasn't because we were children and we looked like kids. That's a picture the first time I ever got my hair straightened. It doesn't even really look straightened there, but that was the first time that an older girl straightened my hair. And I thought it looked so cool. Now, my thoughts and photos aside, Redditors also jumped into this conversation and have been diving into what exactly is happening and why. One person said, I work as a teacher and I have noticed that in the last 10 years, kids and teenagers have started to dress like adults way earlier. When I was 10, I had a print of a monster riding a skateboard or something on my shirt and I loved it. Again, the Aeropostale shirts, the monkey shirts, that was what we were wearing. Now lots of 10-year-olds dress like tiny versions of their mom or dad or older sister or influencers, which we're going to get into. And someone responded to that and said, constant barrage of TikTok and YouTube. Blame social media. They're bombarded on their phones and computers every day with media of young people who have been photoshopped to an impossible standard that they see as normal since that is all they're exposed to. Someone else made a really good point and said, is it kids that are dressing like adults or that adults don't necessarily wear adult clothes like in the decades past? They dress like their parents, but most of the moms I see are always wearing leggings and t-shirts. When I was 40, I had to make a conscious decision to change my clothing style. If not, I would have dressed like a college kid forever. I think there is some truth to that too. I think we do need to graduate away from some of those teen clothes, and I think that starts to happen the older you get, the more mature mature and you start to look at yourself and be like, maybe I should be wearing something a little bit more professional. But a lot of these commenters are picking up on the fact that, well, they're just dressing like mini versions of adults. And as I was thinking about that, it makes total sense for a lot of reasons, especially given the fact that their spaces have essentially vanished. And those spaces have then been replaced by mini versions of everything that the grown-ups are wearing. Literally, every kid store is just Abercrombie Kids, or Zara Kids, or H&M Kids. Even J.Crew, which I was just shopping at the other day. Don't ask, I'm not normally in J.Crew, but I was there and I was looking, and I didn't even realize I was shopping in the kids section, but I couldn't even tell because it was the same clothes as the adult section. I mean, down to the patterns. There's no distinction in that style the way that there used to be. Like there was a Justice, there was Limited 2, there was, I don't know, the section in Kohl's that was just clearly kids' clothes. It's all just becoming one. Places like Justice are out of business. They're gone. I tried to find them, but they're gone. Limited 2, gone.
Isn't Claire's going out of business too? That's
Claire's is going out of business. Yep, they're just going to start buying the fancy jewelry instead because they don't have the alternative. And what I noticed in these malls and these stores was also verified online. Why is no one dressing their age? Years back, age was a signal that informed how we would get dressed. With the rise of social media, fashion lovers are now embracing various pieces no matter their age. And I want to pause and say that it's not necessarily a bad thing all across the board. If you're 60 and you're dressing like you're 45, like I always think that's cool when people stay up on the trends. So I'm not trying to throw all of this under the bus. I'm specifically want to focus in on the preteen style because I think that it is a very important phase for young girls and is important to talk about if it is in fact just disappearing. The article then specified that age group and said, walk into Abercrombie or Hollister and you'd immediately know with the pounding music and teenage staff whether you belonged there. Venture into Ann Taylor and the quiet sophistication told a different story entirely. These physical spaces enforced age boundaries through environment, pricing, and social cues that made crossing generational lines feel awkward or inappropriate. The elimination of tween retail dealt the final blow to age-appropriate shopping. Stores like Justice and Delia's once served as crucial stepping stones, places where 10 to 14-year-olds could shop for clothes that bridged the gap between full teendom. These stores taught young girls how to navigate fashion retail and gave them a safe space to experiment with style. This was all before many of us graduated or moved on to what I refer to as real stores. When they shuttered, that entire developmental stage of shopping disappeared. Now tweens skip straight from kids' clothes to shopping alongside college students and adults. This has left no intermediary step to guide that transition. I think that is such a perfect example of what I'm talking about here. Now, in that embarrassing, awkward phase era that I was just showing you guys, I remember walking into stores like Forever 21 and being too small to fit in any of their clothes and admiring them and looking around, but not being able to physically shop yet. But now they even have sort of kids sections, or kids are just able to fit into those clothes even more. So again, that gap is just dwindling. And I also, as I say that, I know that a lot of people in that age group would be like, well, finally, like, great. I'm glad that it's gone so I can shop in those stores. And it's like, yes, and also there should still be some level of distinction because now they are just shopping along college-age students and then looking like college-age students as a result. I mean, frankly, it makes sense that a store like Justice did essentially die because they were being marketed for older clothes, and so that's what they wanted, and they didn't want the Justice anymore. I mean, that makes sense. Even as for makeup, like, they're not using, like, the Wet n Wild CVS brands anymore. Like, they're going straight to the $100 dropped at Sephora to get the drunk elephant. Like, that is a thing that is happening. Young girls should not be spending 3 hours on their skincare. Also, men should not be spending 3 hours on their skincare. But if you are a guy who wants to look sharp, smell good, have a clean shave, but also not spend hours and hours on your skincare, you should be using Jeremy's razors and their skin products. Because Jeremy's razors aren't for the guys who spend more time in their appearance than we do. These are the razors built for real men, the kind who work hard all day and still show up looking like they mean business. And even if he has a beard, he still needs to clean up those edges, shape the neckline, and keep things looking intentional. Just ask my husband. He has a beard that he has to deal with every day, probably since he was a teen. Jeremy's razors gives him the perfect shave that says he's confident, capable, and worth my attention. Because let's be honest, we notice when a man puts in the effort. So ladies, for your man, or ladies for yourself, because we also have to shave all of the time, you can just head to jeremy'srazors.com/Reagan and you can try it for just $7.99. That's jeremy'srazors.com/Reagan today. Okay, so why is this actually concerning? You know, because obviously it feels like this pivotal time of just being a preteen has essentially disappeared. And I think the why is largely the result of social media, teaching them exactly what to wear, where to buy, what to say, how to act, and it's all much sooner, of a heavy influence than what we experienced once we became adults. And also, they are being influenced by influencers who are older than them. They aren't learning this from their peers like we all used to. It's social media 24/7, always in their face, always influencing them. When I was a tween, the outside influence used to be things like magazines. Maybe a YouTube video here or there, maybe an Instagram, if Instagram was just starting, Facebook was just starting. But there was nothing like the influencers that we have access to at our fingertips today. And we as in both adults and kids. And it's influencing much more than the preteen style. It's also just influencing the way that they act, which I thought that this video did a good job of explaining from an older sister who is currently experiencing this.
I'm truly quite terrified for this next generation of children because tell me why I spent the day with my 10-year-old sister and she kept going, I'm talking about in it. I'm talking about, and I'm like, don't ever do that again. You don't know what you're doing. And then she's humming and I'm like, what are you humming? And she's like, no broke boys, no new friend. Please, I don't want you to ever figure out what a disco line is. Please. And then we're in her bathroom. She's showing me her skincare. Unreal. And she throws her little Kosas skin tint at me.
Kosas skin tint is over $20, just again for reference here. Like I'm trying to emphasize, like, where is this even coming from? It is a good skin tint. Like, she's right. The influencers did their job. They influenced.
And she goes, highly recommend, you should try. This is a kid who's not allowed to go on TikTok. So
that's crazy.
Where she's learning all this stuff from. And she's like, I wake up at 5 every day. I'm like, why? Your school starts at 8. She's like, so I can play Roblox before school, duh.
The fact that a kid wakes up at 5 a.m. to play this before school, like, what is this thing?
Like, yeah, I'm worried. I'm genuinely worried.
Everything about that just shows that's fully social media influence. Down to the lyrics that she's quoting, the products that she's buying. I mean, it's all social media. And that's why I find elements of this concerning because, again, 10 years ago, this was not like this. And so kids were just kids. They weren't being influenced. We were being influenced from commercials on Nickelodeon to buy Gushers. Like that was the influence. And now our parents aren't in the room to also then have to be influenced to go buy the Gushers. It's coming directly to the kids themselves through their phones. And somehow they're finding the money to then go buy the things. Now, the sister there mentioned that her sister doesn't even have TikTok, but there's YouTube Shorts. So every TikTok makes its way onto the Shorts feed. They make their way onto the Instagram Reels feed. I mean, they're everywhere. So if they have one, they have them all. The influence is strong everywhere. And if somehow they have none of the social media platforms, their friends probably do go, look. One person commented under that and said, bring back Radio Disney, Justice, and preteen magazines. Thank you. That's what I'm saying. There's a key phase here that's just vanishing. Another person said the same thing. It's because there's no tween or teen media anymore. We grew up with Disney Channel, the Jonas Brothers, Neopets, The Click. I remember The Click. These don't exist. I mean, the Jonas Brothers still do. But no, I mean, they don't. I was thinking about the magazines that were influential back then. Again, a mere maybe 15 years ago. And it was magazines like Girls Life and Tiger Beat and Popstar and J14. They looked like this, okay? And I want to stress what they looked like because I'm about to show you what we now have as teen media, okay? So this is essentially was teen media. And there was a difference between what you're reading and looking at in your 20s versus what you're reading and looking at when you're 13. And that's important for so many reasons. But then I saw some people say, well, there's Teen Vogue. Okay, let's go look at Teen Vogue. Because while they're no longer popular with printed magazines, they do still have a digital platform. And this is what their digital cover had on it, okay? So you literally Google Teen Vogue, first thing that pops up, how the horrors of Hurricane Katrina radicalized young people into climate activists. Those earlier magazines were not talking about climate activism and the worries of the world. They were just talking about simple kid stuff, teen stuff. They shouldn't be worrying about the climate at 12 years old. The next one was about the Love Island star, which remember, we've talked about Love Island on the show before. Teen magazine, tween magazine, Love Island star, because they all know it, because they all watch it. And the last part to grace the cover of Teen Vogue was Piper Raquel is ready to be an adult and leave the past behind. And in that, she talks about OF and how everyone wants her to start in OF. Now she's like, maybe, my decision. I'm going to be 18. I can do whatever I want. That's the conversations happening on Teen Vogue. So that only reaffirms my theory that tween phase, that just innocence of just pure fun teen years are evaporating. Like, where are the quizzes about who your crush would be? Justin Bieber, Nick Jonas, or Taylor Lautner? I mean, that was the kind of media we were seeing all of the time. And media is a powerful thing. And we see that playing out now more than ever with our young girls. And I do think that is the biggest thing that has shifted between a decade ago and now. And there's not like tween influencers either, which, I mean, again, is good in the sense of I don't want there to be tweens out there being like, and you should buy this. But they are all looking to the adults. Like, they're all looking to the Alex Earls of being like, well, I guess I have to dress like that and do my makeup like that. And then they're doing their makeup like that. Well, and unfortunately, as a result, I think more and more kids are losing their desire to just simply be kids, to act like kids, to be able to maintain that sense of innocence from the pressures of the adult world and just have fun. Again, just look at Teen Vogue. The days about not having to worry about their hair looking amazing or their nails or their outfits or their makeup or climate activism just seem to be disappearing. Because when we log on, those are the pressures. So it makes total sense that we are seeing that in our youth. It's like, what do you say now? It's like, okay, that's the problem. And there's no solution. Like, there's no brands that are like, no, we're tween, like making that phase cool. I mean, maybe it is also our fault because we joked about these awkward phases for years. So now that group is like, well, we don't want the awkward phase. And they've certainly skipped it. So it's commendable to them. But also, I think largely in part, we vilified that tween phase. So now it was just eradicated with the next generation. They're like, well, then we're just not going to do it. And they haven't. So what can we all do about it now? If anything, please try to let kids just be kids. Encourage them to want to be kids, to make that cool, and also make sure they log off. Thanks so much for watching today's episode. If you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video if you enjoyed it. For other content, you can also follow me on Instagram and X, as well as our brand new comment section Instagram. I'll see you guys in the next episode.